Terry, the station pilot, was very cross. The big engines were being as rude as ever. Terry was quickly losing patience. For the love of me coal bunker, who do you gits think ye are? Terry snorted that night in the sheds. Anyone would think you were the superior instead of the customer. You're getting too big for your wee wheels there. But the big engines just hissed steam. You are a simple shanter, making friends with coaches and trucks. We big engines are stronger, faster, and better than you could ever wish to be. Indeed. Nonsense, Edward cut in. You three are just lazy and conniving, and don't know your limits. The big engines just laughed. In the station lies 3 old coaches that were meant to be taken for scrap. The old coaches would squeak as they rolled along. BoCo and Terry were talking about the coaches the next morning. I hope they put those on flatbeds beforehand. Indeed. These things squeak more than a mouse. If I didn't know any better, I would think there was a banshee about. That's it. What's it? That's how we'll pay those big engines out. And he explained his plan. BoCo grinned. BoCo grinned. We'll do it tomorrow night. That night, as Terry returned to the sheds, he found the big engines telling scary stories. And the domeless engine roams again, looking for another engine's dome. Oh, shut up, James. Good evening, Terry. Hold eye, Edward. I see you were telling scary stories. Mind if I have a go? Piff. What ghost stories do you know? The whistling banshee. The engine stayed quiet. It was on me old line. There was an engine who was always teased by bigger engines. One night, the little engine was pulling a passenger train. It was dark, and her lamp was flickering until it went out. The signalman didn't know there was an engine coming through at the time of night, and had set the points to a set of buffers. She crashed into them and tumbled down the hill, while the coaches were left toppled at the top. The next day, when the workmen came to look for the engines, there was nothing found. It is said she goes from railway to railway, screaming into the night, trying to find peace, but she never will. The engines were quiet. Ha ha ha! That certainly was good for a laugh. A banshee! Have you ever heard of such a silly thing? Oh, indeed. But Terry just grinned. Due to the new timetable, it is a requirement for the big engines to refuel before settling down for the night. There was a water tower and coal bunker at the sheds for the engine's ease. But when the 3 engines arrived, they found the water tower was out of order. There is a water tower at Knapford, the driver said. The other engines had already refueled. Begrudgingly, the 3 engines left for Knapford. BoCo and Terry should be back by now. It was dark with only the nightlight illuminating the path. As Henry was filling up, Gordon and James began growing impatient. Hurry up, why don't you? You're going at the pace of a turtle. Well, he is green. The 2 laughed while Henry just rolled his eyes. You 2 are worse than... Henry stopped. All of a sudden, a loud squeaky noise filled the yards. It sounded like wheels rolling. The noise grew louder and louder. We know this is just Terry with the old coaches, but the big engines thought it was something else. Suddenly, Terry rushed through the station with the coaches, whistling fit to burst. It's the whistling banshee! The engines bumped into each other as they raced out of the station, whistling crazily all the way to the sheds. When the engines were out of earshot, Terry and BoCo came out from behind the shadows, laughing hysterically. Oh, this'll certainly show 'em what for. Ha ha! Ah, indeed. When Terry and BoCo arrived at the sheds, they found the engines all tucked inside. You think we should tell them? Nah. The 2 engines drifted off to sleep.